The first time I saw the queen of the Ilari Empire, I thought she looked like something carved from starlight and judgment. The second time I saw her, she looked like she was about to watch her entire world fall apart. My name is Dr. Elias Wren.
Human. Xenobiologist.
And, apparently, the man responsible for proving an entire alien civilization wrong. But I didn't know that at the beginning. Back then, I thought I was just taking another contract. You're overqualified for this, Director Hale had said, sliding the data pad across the table. I glanced at the file. Ilari Imperial Request, Biological Consultation. High priority. Restricted access. Ridiculously high pay. That usually means something's very wrong, I replied. Hale smiled thinly. It means they're desperate. The Ilari weren't known for desperation. They were one of the oldest, most advanced civilizations humanity had ever encountered. Precise. Controlled.
Perfect.
At least, that's what they wanted everyone to believe. What's the problem? I asked. Hale hesitated, then said something that didn't make sense at the time. They have a daughter who isn't supposed to exist. The Ilari homeworld, Valor Prime, was unlike anything I had ever seen. It didn't feel built. It felt arranged. Towering structures curved like organic growth, seamlessly integrated with the landscape. Light moved across surfaces in soft, deliberate patterns, as if the entire planet operated on some deeper rhythm. Nothing was out of place. Nothing was imperfect. Until I arrived. They escorted me directly to the Imperial Citadel. No delays. No distractions. Which meant one thing. This wasn't just important. It was urgent. The Queen awaited me in a chamber that seemed to stretch endlessly upward. She stood at its center.
Tall. Composed.
Radiating authority so intensely it felt like pressure against my skin. Her eyes fixed on me the moment I entered. You are the human, she said. Not a question. That's usually how introductions go, I replied. A faint pause. Then, you will address me as Queen Sarathis, she said. Understood.
She studied me.
Evaluating. We have reviewed your work, she said. Your expertise in cross-species genetics is adequate. High praise, I muttered. Her expression didn't change. You are here because we require answers. I nodded. Then I'll need to know the problem. For the first time, something flickered in her composure. Just for a second. Then, my daughter, she said, was declared barren at birth. I frowned. Declared how? Our kind does not guess, she replied. We know. Genetic analysis is absolute. Nothing's absolute, I said. Her gaze sharpened. It is for us. I held her stare. Then why am I here? Silence. Then, because she now has a child. They took me to a private chamber deep within the citadel. Security was tight, not just protective. Controlled. Like they were hiding something. Or someone. Princess Lysera didn't look like royalty. Not at first. She sat near a wide window, holding a small bundle in her arms. Her posture wasn't regal. It was protective. She looked up as I entered. Her eyes were softer than the Queen's. But there was something else in them.
Fear.
You're the human, she said quietly. Yeah, I replied. I hear I've been invited into a mystery. She glanced down at the child. It's not a mystery, she said. It's a problem. I stepped closer. Mind if I take a look? She hesitated, then nodded. I leaned in, and everything I thought I understood shifted. The child was extraordinary, not just because she existed, but because of what she was. Her features were Ilari, but not entirely. Subtle variations. Genetic markers that didn't belong. Human markers. I straightened slowly. That's not possible, I said. Lysera let out a small, humorless laugh. That seems to be a common response. I looked at her. then back at the child, then back at her. The father? I asked carefully. She met my gaze. He was human. That was when everything got complicated. Interspecies reproduction at this level shouldn't be viable, I said later, pacing in the analysis chamber. Different genetic frameworks, incompatible reproductive systems. This should have failed at multiple stages. And yet it did not. Queen Sarathis said coldly. I gestured toward the data. And your scan said she was barren? Yes. Completely? Absolutely. I exhaled. Then either your science is wrong. Her eyes narrowed. Or something changed. It took days of testing, analysis, reanalysis. Nothing made sense. Until it did. You modified her, I said finally. The queen didn't respond. I turned to Lysera. You didn't just leave your world, I said. You were part of something, weren't you? She hesitated, then nodded. A program, she said. Before I was declared barren. What kind of program? She looked at her mother. The queen's silence was answer enough. Enhancement, Lysera said quietly. Genetic refinement. The pursuit of perfection. I felt a chill. And something went wrong, I said. They said I was flawed, she replied. Flawed. The word echoed. I ran the data again. Different angle. Different assumptions. And then, there it was. Her genetics hadn't failed. They had adapted. She's not barren, I said slowly. Both of them looked at me. She's different, I continued. Her system doesn't function like a standard Ilari anymore. It evolved probably because of the modifications. Evolved, the queen repeated. Yes, I said. And when she encountered compatible external genetics, human genetics, it found a way to bridge the gap. Silence. That's not a flaw, I said. It's an advancement. The queen didn't like that. This child, she said, represents instability. No, I replied. She represents change. The tension broke when the child cried. A small sound, but enough to shift everything. Lysera held her closer, and for the first time, the queen hesitated. May I? She asked quietly. Lysera froze. Then slowly, she handed the child over. Queen Sarathis looked down at her grandchild, at the impossible, and whispered, Impossible. She was never meant to have a child. But she did. And in that moment, something changed. Not just in the queen, in the entire empire, because perfection was no longer what they thought it was. Weeks passed. Decisions were made. Quietly, carefully. The child, named Eri, was no longer a secret. She was a symbol of something new. The queen stood before her people. For the first time, uncertain. We have pursued perfection, she said. A pause. But perfection is not what we believed. The crowd stirred. Our future lies not in eliminating difference. She looked at Lysera, at Eri, but in understanding it. And just like that, everything changed. As for me, I finished my contract, got paid, and left. But sometimes, I think about that moment, the look on the queen's face, the instant when certainty broke, and something better took its place. Because in the end, the impossible wasn't a mistake. It was the beginning of something new. And all it took was one child who was never supposed to exist.